Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your Planning Outlook video updated on Monday the 2nd of April. And it's still winter on the mountains, and it will be across the Scottish Highlands throughout this week. Milder air gets into England and Wales, where there'll be a thaw, and things are very wet underfoot, with some of the river levels very high. It looks a fairly mixed picture into the weekend, but there's indications of something drier as high pressure starts to build further into mid-April. Let's start off with temperatures. This is the 850 millibar chart. It's at around 4,000 to 4,500 feet, 12 to 1,300 metres above sea level. We've got quite a contrast in temperature then from north to south across Britain. Very cold air stays in place across Scotland. Freezing levels well down, 300-400 metres throughout Tuesday, and on higher tops -3 to -5. You're above freezing though across England and Wales. A much milder picture will be in place here over the next few days. This is through into Wednesday, and we've got the cold air still towards the north and northwest of Scotland, perhaps a brief lift in freezing levels around the central Highlands, but that will drop again by late Wednesday into Thursday, and temporarily freezing levels also dropping in England and Wales to around 600 or 700 metres for a time early on Thursday. They'll lift through the day though as the winds turn back towards the southwest, and we'll probably end up with freezing levels above the higher summits in England and Wales late in the day. But still across Scotland, you'll be looking at sub-zero temperatures extensively across most mountains. Milder air then comes up from the south into Friday, extending its way towards Scotland with time. It may just lift to around freezing or perhaps above, even towards higher tops in the Highlands. Looks relatively short-lived because I think you'll be close to freezing on Scottish tops through into this weekend, most likely just above across the higher ground of England and Wales. That'll be the story of the weekend. And I think the idea of somewhat milder air then being the more common theme as we head further into next week. Here's the charts for the next few days, and that's Tuesday. We've got the cold air in place across Scotland, then fronts are slow moving, extensive snowfalls across the south and eastern Highlands, least in the way of snow towards the northwest. A showery day for England and Wales, some more organised rain across parts of the Lake District and Dumfries and Galloway, brighter skies at times for Wales and the Pennines. A real tangled mess into Wednesday. Low pressure parked broadly across the country. In the centre of the low, winds will be very light. It could still be blustery northeasterlies across the Scottish Highlands. Basically, areas of rain, snow, some hail, all moving around quite slowly, breaking out increasingly into heavy showers for England and Wales, maybe more zones of precipitation across Scotland associated with fronts. In the showers, though, there may be the risk of some hail and thunder in the afternoon across England and Wales, so some heavy bursts will be around. Maybe not quite as thundery into Scotland, with the rain and snow that bit more organised. And even by this stage, rain still confined only to lower slopes in the Scottish Highlands. By Thursday, a chilly day for Scotland, showers coming into the west, but a bright picture for many as a brief ridge of high pressure is in. Fronts are being carried away eastwards. The next fronts over the Atlantic are not quite coming in, so many areas will get away now with a decent day on Thursday. The West Highlands maybe less so, with showers and low cloud hanging on there. Best conditions, the eastern Scottish Highlands and a good part of England and Wales staying dry most or all day. Things change though by Thursday night into Friday. Those fronts over the Atlantic push northwards. Uncertainty of absolute detail in terms of how quickly it gets into Scotland. Another fall of snow is possible, turning to rain as milder air pushes in. Some persistent falls of rain, western coastal hills of Wales, the Lake District, Dumfries and Galloway. Maybe less in the way of rain across the Peak District and most of the Pennines. The air coming up from the south though is milder, but will contain more moisture, so has the risk of low cloud extensively for many, but some more inland areas of Wales and the Pennines might end up breaking up and not being too bad. Great difficulty with detail by the weekend. Broadly low pressure is around, fronts becoming slow moving. The leftovers of various zones of rain could still be around for some. Don't take the detail out of this chart, but the idea of being mixed, maybe not particularly severe, but just in some areas quite disappointing. I wouldn't write off the details for the weekend at this stage. Some areas may do pretty well, just depending on where fronts come to rest. Basically still a mixed picture. This is the general theme then from the models as we go forwards into next week. And notice how as we go through the weekend, low pressure becomes more centred to the southwest of us. Pressure is building more towards the north. This is into the following Monday, the 9th of April. And by that time, it's an easterly flow that's across most of Britain, but we're seeing building pressure, particularly towards the north, which brings drier conditions, and that may well settle in for a few days of fair weather if all goes to plan. By the time we get to this point, it's around the 10th of April here. Difficulty really with the messy picture that will have been around in the weekend in terms of just where high pressure does build, but many indications are looking more optimistic for drier conditions heading into mid-month. That's the general theme then for the week up until the 15th of April. High pressure shown off the model forecast around Scandinavia. The airflow then is more south-southeasterly, which could draw in some much milder conditions at the first real push of properly mild air of the season coming in, and maybe very welcome warmth for many. Temperatures across the mountains probably lifting above freezing. We could go into almost an alpine situation across the highlands where the extensive snowpack is still in place, freezing overnight, thawing a bit during the day and quite consolidated on higher areas, whilst many of the high ground tops of England and Wales will probably thaw. So signs of things changing further ahead, but for the time being the mountains are still very much in winter condition through this week. We'll update the details for the weekend when things become a bit clearer through midweek. Keep an eye on the videos then for that one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.